Everybody, welcome back. Surprise, surprise, we are still on this Shovelhead build. This is our second to last weekend before it's got to be done. So we have today, then I have some other stuff this weekend, so I won't be able to work on it any extra. We have next week and the following weekend. So if you're getting sick of this bike, like I am a little bit truthfully, this will be getting wrapped up, and we'll be getting some different content coming up here soon, trying to come up with some ideas on some cool stuff that you guys might be interested in seeing. So anyway, bear with us for a couple of more videos, and you'll finally get to see this bike completed. It's extremely close. The Pinstriper was here this week, so you guys will get to check that out. I don't know what else we did this week. Got the carburetor on, got the rear brake on. This morning I am going to machine some extensions for the compression releases, put those in. I need to make up the throttle cable. I'll show that. It might be something interesting and educational for some people who've never made a cable. Real simple process. Anybody can do it at home with real basic tools. I don't know. We'll see what else we can get done today. So that's going to do it. I'm going to jump out on the lathe. We did get our new lathe. I'm not sure if I even mentioned that. Our old lathe died on us. So our new lathe is here and installed. I'll show you guys that real quick. If you're a tool junkie like I am, might be of some interest. So anyway, thanks for joining us, and we're going to get rolling. So we added some decompressors to our engine here because we're running a real tiny battery. But with our clearance issues with the valves and the spark plug holes and all that, we put them here on the right hand side. You can kind of see this is the decompressor where it'll drop in there right here. We got these decompressors that have a screw on end, if that will focus. Anyway, they're designed to just take valve stem caps so you can screw on whatever kind of decorative little thing you want. But we're going to go ahead, because of the location, and machine some tall extensions. So they'll come up right here, do something a little decorative, and look clean on this bike with all these other little details. Alright, so this is our new lathe. It's a 14 by 40. Pretty similar to our lathe, a little bit bigger, larger spindle bore, digital readout, quick change tool post, flood coolant. So basically the same lathe we had, still all manual obviously, but a couple of upgraded modern features. So came from Michigan Machine Tools. We're really happy with it so far. Still learning, you know, a lot of the controls are slightly different than our other lathe that I've been using for, geez, I don't know, 15, 16 years. So still getting used to the little differences, but overall it's been a great machine for us so far. so you can see here, if it'll focus, you can ignore my face. This is our extended decompressor. So pretty cool little piece, I think. We'll go ahead and get this one installed, and then we got to make one more. Alright, so we got our decompressor bodies down in the head already. Got a little red Loctite on the extensions. Just going to go ahead and thread them on. Alright, there you have it. Got our extensions in. They match our starter handle over here, so trying to keep everything uniform on this build. We got our carburetor on there this week. That's our Carl Speed Shop Typhoon carburetor. Really neat carburetor. I'm interested to see how it works. And you can see we got some pinstriping going on. Went ahead and dubbed this bike King Tut. Alright, so we're going to get started on making our throttle cable here. So we're going to use an internal throttle on this. It's pretty much what we use on all our custom bikes. Just a much cleaner look. So we've got our cable sleeve already run inside the bar. And actually this one runs down the bar and then back out and into the frame. See that, and then comes out here. So first thing we need to do, there's no adjuster on the carburetor side on this, so we're going to put an inline adjuster. So I've already cut our outer sleeve to length, but what I'm going to do is, if I have an inline adjuster, here we go. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and cut the cable where it comes out of the frame here. Just enough so we can put the adjuster in line there. So alright, so snip the end off so you have a nice clean end, and then get that slid into your outer sleeve. Until you come out your other end here. So for now we're going to just leave this nice and long. I'm going to go ahead and snip this off. Now one thing about these internal throttles that we use, it's kind of a defect in their production, but it's not the end of the world. I have an easy fix for it. So the way these go is, it's a full bolt-in system, no welding required. I don't know if you can see in here, but anyway, there's a hollow bolt and this kind of offset swedge that locks it in. So the problem is the hollow bolt has a little bit too large of a hole in it, and if you don't make a little ferrule cap to go over this, the outside sleeve can actually slip into the hole and you'll lose all your throttle pull. So I'm going to hop out on the lathe, machine one of these up real quick. I'll come back and show it to you, and we'll continue with the assembly. Alright, so we machined our little ferrule. You can see it here. Just a little aluminum. Come on. Anyway, just a little aluminum piece with a hole and then a stepped hole to go over the outer cable sleeve. So now that we got that, we can start on the assembly of the internal throttle. So first thing we do is slide the cable through so that we know we have access. So we got our cable here. We get the throttle tube slid in. There's a little line machined on it where you want it to go into the end of the bar, which is right there. Then, because of the way this bolts in, you have to slide the cable, and you got to be careful on this because you want to slide the cable just in so that it gets out of the way of the Allen wrench, but you don't pull it all the way through because then you'll lose it and you won't be able to slide it back in. You'll have to take it back apart and start over. So once we do that, we put our T-handle Allen wrench in here, lock our outside portion of our internal throttle in, and then slide our cable back through, and we have access to now install the next part, which is over here. So the reason we use these particular internal throttles is they are just loaded with bearings. So I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 5 or 6 bearings in it. So the action is just super smooth. You don't get a lot of binding or trouble. And I also love the fact that they're bolt-in. So guys can use them if they don't weld or whatever at home. So it's also a spring. So this is your actual throttle. I don't know what you want to call it, like slider or whatever. So you put your end of your cable in here. It locks down with a set screw. You want to make sure that that set screw is really tight, you know, as tight as you can get it, so that it bites onto the cable nicely. Then you go ahead and slide that into place. You thread your end bar in, tighten that down. You don't want to go crazy. This stuff's all aluminum here, so just snug it. And then you have your actual outside throttle tube, which has a bearing in the end and a needle roller here. So you want to make sure that that stuff is all in place when you slide it on. And we're getting close. Last thing to do. Alright, last thing to do is you got these little pins, 2 bearings on each one. These go into the little throttle slider, and they are what rides in the spherical cutouts on the outside of the throttle tube, and that's what actually gives you your throttle, you know, your action in and out. So there's 2 of these, one goes on each side. Snug those up, and then there you can see we have a nice throttle that snaps back on its own without even having the assistance of the carburetor. Last piece on this is the outside. Takes a little snap ring on the end here to hold everything together. So there we go. That's step 1. Alright, so now that we got that all hooked up, we can go ahead and get our cable the rest of the way built. So, let me get our cable body slid down here. Then we have our adjuster that we put on, and this little piece of line that we cut off, or the outside sleeve rather, that we cut off. So I'm going to just kind of hold this down in place. I can see how much I want to shorten this, which is going to be basically the exact same amount of length that the adjuster takes up. Go ahead and snip that off. Slide our cable back through. Slide that down into place, and then we just have to work our cable in around our throttle barrel, which on this is kind of tricky to do because this carburetor is so big. There we go. So this next part is a little tricky. You're not really going to be able to see. I don't think I can get the camera around here, but at this point what you want to do is loop your cable around to the spot where the cable actually hooks up on the carburetor with the little brass ferrule. Once you do that, get a mark on it, obviously, and that's where you're going to want to cut your length of your cable. Now, you can't put it back on, but you can cut more off. So I always kind of make my mark, and then I err on the side of cutting it a little too long. Also, because of the adjuster, we have a little room for, you know, adjusting the cable, which is what we want anyway. So I always go maybe I don't know, an 1/8 inch to maybe 3/16 longer than my mark. Once I do that, we've got our little brass cable ends. I get all my stuff Motion Pro. I'm sure there's other companies. It's really nothing special. It's a piece of brass with a hole drilled in it. So I slide that on. I do a little squeeze on these cable fibers just to kind of swell it up a little bit. And then something I didn't mention, one side of the hole is a little larger than the other. That's the outside. That way you can swell your cable end, and it gives it a little something to grab onto once you solder it. Alright, so now that we got that done, I use a little bit of this soldering paste flux, and I just kind of dab the whole deal in there. I know there's probably other ways guys do this. I know some guys use like a solder pot, which I actually like the idea of. I just don't have one. So I get the flux on there. I use one of these little, we call them a crack torch. You get them at a gas station, whatever. Windproof lighter, if you prefer. And just get this nice and warmed up. Usually the flux will kind of start to sizzle. And when it does, you just lay your solder on there. And the key is that you want to see the solder flow into the hole and onto the cable. It's pretty obvious. If you've ever soldered wire, it's the same kind of thing. I actually then stick it back in the flux to cool it. I don't know if that helps or not, but in my mind, it gives it just that little bit of extra chance for the solder to flow in there when it's getting hit with that flux on its way to cooling off. So that's that. It looks pretty good. Last thing we got to do is just sand this little nub off, because it won't fit in the carburetor if you have a little nub like that. So alright, so we sanded our little nub, got our cable installed. Now we got a nice snapback throttle ready for our grip. So, last thing we need to do is measure and make our little filler spacer here. Which we're going to go ahead and make like 1 7/8 inches. tank stuff almost looks like a rip roll ticket, you know, like from an old carnival.
Oh yeah, an old movie ticket.
That you know, like roll tickets.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, I like it.
It's still the weirdest fucking tank I've ever seen.
It is, but it's fucking cool.
It is cool, isn't it? All right, I'm gone.
All right,
that gas cap is a shit too. Brother, have a good down to let the air out.
Yeah.
They pop up.
Yeah,
okay.
you just.
I got you. Freaking badass.
Yeah, I gotta polish this. I think this Thunderjet because it was this faded blue anodized. Looks stupid. Goes on the carburetor here.
Oh yeah.
But I just want to clean that up a little bit. I guess I need to machine a couple of bolts.
Are you gonna get? You gotta get the blue off.
Yeah, I think.
It'll come off.
Yeah, it should.
It's not made in.
No, it's a coating.
Okay.
Anodized is a coating.
Okay.
I guess I gotta machine 3 bolts. We'll put that foot peg on.
You want me to hit it with some wet 600?
What, this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
If I can get that shit off.
Yeah, I was thinking about just trying to hit it on the buffer, but if you hit it with some wet 600, probably knock it right down.
What's got to?
All right, guys, just a quick interruption in the video here. I want to tell you about how to enter to win. As I said in a couple previous videos, we're going to pop this information in the middle of all of our videos here and there, just to let people know how to enter, and it'll get people to watch the videos, as you got to watch and find where the information is. So it's going to be real simple. You don't have to buy anything, doesn't cost you anything. You just need to send an email. I'm going to try to get the email on the screen here. I'm not a super tech whiz, so we'll see how that goes. But the email address is pretty straightforward. It's gaddysgaragegiveaway@gmail.com. So all you have to do, send one email. In the email, subject line, giveaway. And in the body of the email, your name, address, telephone number. That's it. You don't actually even need to give your whole address if you don't want. Just let's scratch the address. Let's give your name, your city and state, and a contact phone number. We're not going to sell the phone numbers. No one will ever have them but me, so don't worry about that. You're not going to get sales calls. I hate sales calls as much as everybody else. But we do need a way to get a hold of you if you win. So, again, name, city and state, telephone number. You do need to be a subscriber to the channel to win also. So if you're seeing this and you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button and then send the information on over. So we look forward to everybody entering, and we're really excited to give away this bike. Now back to the video. Yeah.
A little bit of a headache.
Do you?
Yeah, I don't know why. My eyes have been, like the outside of my eyes have been getting really dry and irritated. I've been putting cortisone on the outsides.
Really?
Yeah, and it helps you stop itching, and they've gotten better. But I don't know what I can relate it to. I think it was all that polishing that I was doing and not wearing that face mask. You know, those fine dust particles? I don't know.
Could be.
I have no idea. That's why I started wearing that.
You might need some genital eye ointment.
Huh.
That's a real thing.
Huh.
Gaddy's Garage.
It's fucking coolest thing ever. Glad that was part of my idea.
Appreciate this thing
No,
hardly.
you can't. Not until you see it.
Like in the videos and stuff,
No,
you know?
you can't.
Yeah, it
No.
looks better in person. And
When people see it, they're going to shit their pants.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for today. We got this thing pretty much buttoned up. A couple little wires left to hook up. Waiting on a couple battery terminal connectors, and then we'll finish up the wiring here probably during the week. Fuel line is made, exhaust mounts on, other foot peg is on, decompressors are in, all the little final stuff, axle covers. So anyway, we are really pumped with how this turned out. Really hard to get good shots of it in here, and I just really don't think you can even understand how good it looks without seeing it in person. So hopefully we will get to meet some of you guys in Virginia here in a couple of weeks. Bikes, Brews, and Barbecue at New Hampton Road, Harley Davidson. That's it. So anyway, I'll put a link to that info in the description here, so you can check that out if you want. Also, we will be back on the giveaway bike here in the next couple of weeks. We got to get it out of the trailer so we can load for Virginia. I know a lot of you guys have been asking what happened with that and who we gave it away to, and the answer is no one yet. We are still working on getting up to 2,500 subscribers, so you still have a chance to do that. So check out those videos, share them with your friends, and we hope to see you next time at Gaddy's Garage.